Hello, everybody, and welcome back to TJ's Talk Show on this late Wednesday evening. It's approximately 5:30 here on the West Coast. But mainly we're going to talk over some major baseball news that happened today. First and foremost, a blockbuster splash today was the Chicago White Sox made another huge trade today. They traded outfielder Adam Eaton to the Nationals for a couple of really good prospects. But we'll get into that later. That'll be the headline to it'll be the main point of today's show. But let's go ahead and start off with a little bit of smaller news. Depends on if you're a team. If your team made a move today, and today the Colorado Rockies signed Ian Desmond, outfielder, infielder, utility guy, to a 5-year deal worth $70 million with a 6th-year option that would push the total contract to $83 million. But Desmond was tendered a qualifying offer. So with the Rockies signing him, they will forfeit their 11th overall pick in June when their draft comes up. There is a 6-year deal making it worth $83 million. But total for right now, it's a club option. So main base deal was 5 years, $70 million. Not quite as big as the one Desmond turned down a couple years ago for the Nationals, which was over $100 million. But still a pretty big paycheck there for Ian Desmond, who will most likely play first base for the Rockies this upcoming season. This is a huge deal for them because now they have another guy who can play the outfield, which means they will probably shop another one. Charlie Blackmon has been rumored to be in some trade talks here as of late. So expect another move there by the Rockies. But for right now, this is their big splash. As of right now, like I said, the winter meetings just started a couple days ago. So who knows what else could happen in the next week or so. In other news, the defending World Series champions have traded outfielder Jorge Soler to the Kansas City Royals for the closer, Wade Davis. And that's a pretty big trade there for the Cubs because obviously they lost Chapman to free agency, which we all expected that to happen, and we all expected them to not be able to re-sign him for the amount of money he's going to be asking for. So in order to get Wade Davis, who's been an absolutely lockdown closer the last few years with Kansas City, is a big plus. And they gave up Soler, who's a major league ready outfielder, who looks to be the odd man out in the outfield for the Cubs, especially with Schwarber trying to come back and maybe patrol left field again. And John Jay's also been added. Maybe Dexter Fowler will come back. Who knows? You have Hayward and Wright. So definitely could be a lot of different options there for the Cubs to go the outfield route. So this was a smart move for them to trade Soler and try to get a little something back for him. And the Royals really like Soler, so might as well take full effect on it and get a dominant closer like Wade Davis, who you can throw in the back end of that bullpen. You know, with John Lester, you can hopefully have Lester go 7, maybe 8 innings, and then you bring in Wade Davis for a huge save and get you a win. So that's another big trade. And now let's get into the main event here, which was the Chicago White Sox trading Adam Eaton to the Washington Nationals for some prospects, and not just any prospects. The top prospects for the Nationals. Lucas Giolito was in the trade. Ronaldo Lopez and Dave Dunning are the 3 prospects going to the White Sox. And you might have heard of Giolito. He did have some major league time last year, and he's also baseball's number 3 prospect. So you think about the 2 days what the White Sox have done. And a little side note here. This is the exact same package they offered for Chris Sale. Now let that sink in for a little bit, because Chris Sale is one of the best left-handed pitchers in the game. Right? So it makes sense. You're going to give up your number 1 prospect, your number 3 prospect, and your number I think he was listed as like the number 7 prospect in the Nationals pipeline. So this is right. So you're giving up your best prospect, your 3rd best prospect, and your 7th. And I believe he's a top 10 prospect for the Nationals. And you were going to give him those 3 up for Chris Sale. I can deal with that. You're getting a top tier guy. And then you trade the exact same package for Adam Eaton. Adam Eaton is nowhere near Chris Sale's tier of greatness. He's not on the same tier. I'd maybe give those 3 up for maybe a Mike Trout or a Bryce Harper or McCutchen, but definitely not an Adam Eaton. The only good thing, the only thing I can really think of is Eaton he is under team control till 2021. So I mean, you have him for the next 4 years, so that is a big point. But you gave up the number 3 prospect in all of baseball. Lopez was another. Lopez was in the top 100, as was Dave Dunning. Dave Dunning was number 38 in all of baseball prospects. Lopez, I believe, was a top 15 prospect. So the White Sox, once again, they're turning into the Atlanta Braves of trades right now. They're just going on a full rebuild. You get rid of Chris Sale, got a bunch of prospects, including baseball's number 1 prospect. And now you get rid of Adam Eaton, and the Nationals were dumb enough to give away their top 2 prospects, and Giolito and Lopez, and then Dave Dunning. So, so now the White Sox have a really, really, really bright future. I wouldn't be surprised if Giolito and Moncada start the year up in the bigs with Lopez and Kopech, the guy they received for the Sale trade. Maybe spend some time in the farm system and polish a little bit, because at this point you're in no hurry to rush these guys to the bigs because you're in full rebuild mode. You need to get rid of everything you can and bring in as much as you can and go from there. And there's also rumors that the Braves are interested in Jose Quintana. So, once again, you could be looking at another trade for prospects that the White Sox are looking for, or that they may pull the trigger on. I can't imagine the Braves giving up as much as the Nationals did for Adam Eaton for Jose Quintana. But Jose Quintana is one of the most reliable left-handed pitchers in the game right now, and not necessarily a stud where he's going to get you 6 shutout innings every time. But you can give him the ball every 5 days. He's going to compete and get you a chance to win. So he won't draw. Well, who knows after this trade? Because I was going to say he probably isn't going to bring in a whole lot. But if Adam Eaton's able to bring in you the number 3 prospect, and in my opinion, Quintana's a better asset for the team than Eaton was, who knows what you could bring in? And the Braves are looking after him, inquired about him. But who knows? I would assume right now, if you're the White Sox, might as well ask for Dansby Swanson and Ozzie Albies. There was rumor that they did ask for Malik Smith, the young center fielder in the Braves system, who spent a little bit of time in the bigs, got hurt, and went back and forth. And I don't know if I'm willing to give up Malik Smith for Jose Quintana. Malik Smith is really young, really raw, but if you watch any Braves game, he definitely has the upside that they brought him up for. I mean, the dude's got plus speed. He's to me, he reminds me of Billy Hamilton with a higher ceiling on the offensive end. Just as fast. From what I saw last year before he got hurt, he wasn't going to hit for 300, but he wasn't going to hit for 200 like Hamilton was. Okay, he can at least be respectable at the plate and get you maybe a 250, 260 average as a leadoff guy, and maybe swipe 35 to 40 bags a year. A kid can fly, but I don't know if I'm willing to give up on him just yet for Jose Quintana of the White Sox. But I also was looking up the top four, or the prospect pipeline for the White Sox, and their top four prospects, which would be Moncada 1, Giolito 2, Kopech 3, Ronaldo Lopez 4. They all acquired in a trade in the last 48 hours. And then Dave Dunning, the third guy that got into this trade, was a 38th in baseball, and he's now, I believe, the 5th or 6th, or maybe even 7th prospect in the pipeline for the White Sox. So that tells me that these 5 guys that they've received in the last 48 hours are better than anybody else, any other prospect the White Sox had in their system at the time. You might have one, maybe two from 5 and 6, because I'm pretty sure Dave Dunning was number 7 on the pipeline list. So you're telling me 2 guys who are now 5th and 6th on your pipeline were your top 2 prospects. And now you have 4, 5, well, you got 3 here, and you got 3 guys. No, so maybe number 5 was Luis Barabee, also from the trade from the Red Sox. So you're legitimately telling me 5 out of your top 7 prospects are acquired from the trades from Chris Sale and Adam Eaton. So that means one guy from your pipeline was on the top 10, pretty much, top 6, and now everyone's been pushed back. So they literally had no farm system. They're still, in my opinion, not as deep as the Braves are, because the Braves have made a lot of trades to get a lot of things. I just think of the Shelby Miller trade. You have Inciarte, who is a stud, won a Gold Glove. You have Dansby Swanson, who's a stud and still considered a prospect. I believe he's baseball's number 2 overall prospect behind Moncada. And then you also added Aaron Blair, who's the Braves' top pitching prospect at the moment. So, you know, that's a complete trade that the Braves did. But this is pretty much what the White Sox are doing. They're trying to emulate what the Braves have been doing the last couple of years, and right now it's going in full stride. And I'm a little worried on what they could be asking the Braves. The White Sox could be asking the Braves for Quintana. I don't know if I pull the trigger if I'm John Capalella or John Hart to really get Quintana. Right now I'm sitting okay with Tehran, Foltynewicz, Colon, Dickey, Garcia, and keep Aaron Blair and Matt Whistler down in the AAA to start the season and see what happens. So that's where I'm sitting at right now. That's the big trade. The White Sox are just cleaning house. I wouldn't be surprised if Jose Abreu gets traded here in the next couple weeks. Todd Frazier. I mean, those are the really only 2 real big names that they still have on the roster. So don't be surprised if those guys get traded here in the next few weeks, because it looks to be like a full fire sale in the south side of Chicago. Yeah, I believe they're in the south side of Chicago. But anyway, that's where they're sitting at right now, and it's going to be interesting. So keep your eye out on Chris Sale. And now Adam Eaton. Adam Eaton led the American League last season with 9 triples. And that's the second time he's done that. Led the American League in triples. The previous time, I believe, was 2014, and he had 10. So definitely the speed factor is there. He's pretty good defensively. But he's not worth the number 3 best prospect in baseball. At least in my opinion. So, yeah, that's pretty much what happened today. Ian Desmond signing for a 5-year deal. Cubs and Royals trade Soler for Davis. And then this Adam Eaton for Giolito, Lopez, and Dave Dunning trade. And that's pretty much what's been the news today in the baseball world. And unfortunately, that's all the time we have today. So for Wednesday is all wrapped up. Sorry for being a little late, but tomorrow I'll be a little bit more on top of things. But this is TJ Perneda, and thank you for listening. Talk to you tomorrow.